acting like. Hello! We are appearing slightly early, again, to make sure that everything is working and we can see people joining in. So yeah, while people are joining in, Melina, do you want to show me what have you made?
Well, today, while I was waiting and I was a bit bored, waiting for this to start, I made these Easter eggs, maybe. These Easter eggs, one here. And there's also one here I made.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for making them for us. You might as well find them on Sunday. Hello, everybody. I can see people start joining in. So if you want to put in comments, hello from and the child's name, so we know what children are there with us today, that will be very helpful. Another thing also to say, please have images ready. And the first image we will be discussing is Crucifixion by Andrea Mantegna. And the second image will be by Titian, Christ carrying a cross. So while we're waiting for another minute or two to start actual lesson itself, please have those messages handy. So if you, for example, joining from a phone, maybe have them on a laptop or another phone. If you are on computer, you probably can actually go between screens, and that should be fine. So hi Alex, nice to see you online. You remember we did Greek myths class together on the pottery? Yeah. So, and we'll start pretty much at just in a few seconds. It's 3 o'clock now. We'll give people maybe another 30 seconds to join in, and we'll start. Thank you so much. It's such a lovely day, so taking time out, joining us here. And, we are very grateful that you're going to discover some art with us. Melina, are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Melina hasn't really seen images in the detail. So we have got a few more people saying hello. Thank you for all saying hello, because then I can address children in comments. So if you put also their names, I know Sasha, Eliza. So if other children would like to put their names as well. And for parents, one more thing, as we go along, I will be asking questions to Melina, but also ask your children to answer the same questions, and if you can put them in the comments, I can either refer to them or just see if they're actually observing a lesson correctly or not. So please help them with providing their comments, and this will make it more interactive for children as well. Okay, right, so Nicole, hello. So Melina and everybody else, I hope you had time to watch the video, which I have posted a few days ago. Melina, did you watch the video?
Yes, and hi from everybody.
Hi from it. Do you want to tell us what the video was about? What was the story about?
Well, it was really about Jesus was telling stories and had loads of followers listening to him. He had loads of friends, and then what happened was the rulers got jealous, so he was put on a cross, and that is called Good Friday.
So it was
the day when he was sacrificed.
Exactly, and today is a Good Friday for Catholic Christians. So hence we're discovering the theme of art, Crucifixion and Good Friday. It is interesting that actually at the beginning of Christianity, you wouldn't go in early churches and see a lot of crucifixion scenes at all. This theme probably appeared first time in about 5th or 6th century, after Christianity has been official religion of a new Roman Empire, and then it kind of was used as a tool showing that Christ has made sacrifices, right? So at the beginning, when the conversion to Christianity started to happen, then also imagery of Christianity was changing, so to show the sacrifice. Okay, let's start with visual analysis. Melina, I will open the first picture. You can open the first picture. It's by Andrea Mantegna, And he was Florentine, northern Italy artist in Renaissance. This particular work has been created for a church in Verona, and it's was created between 1457 to 1459. So we start with, whoever hasn't joined lesson before, haven't watched, Melina will spend a minute or two, and children, please spend as well the same time, 2 minutes, looking at the image in front of you in a very detailed manner. So kind of don't just look and turn away. Notice all the small things, and then Melina will be describing the image. Once you have also noticed the same thing, send us a thumbs up or a heart, then I will know that you also have seen that. Hello Eleni, and hello Eleanor as well. So I will know that actually you have noticed the same thing, and then there will be a bit of a time for you to add more comments before I then move on to my part of the lesson, where I add more commentary and more story to this. So Melina and children, please just spend 1 or 2 minutes, well, let's say 2 minutes, really looking at the image and noticing as many things as you can notice about it. It's a very busy image. There are loads of things going on there. So you definitely will spend this time wisely. Hello, Gregory. Melina at the moment is also clicking on the faces to make them a little bit bigger, so parents, you can help your children with that if they need that help. And that's a very important thing to do as well, because emotions are one of the things which we notice in art history and kind of help us to create narrative. Narrative is being a story of the image. What does this image is telling us?
I might go to the back so I can see it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done whenever you are.
All right, so Melina is ready. So as I said, for those who joined a bit later, if you hear the comment which your child has made, please hit thumbs up or a heart. And then once Melina finishes, please add, I will prompt you to add your comments as well. So please, Melina, describe an image in front of you.
So I think in the middle is Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I know that because he has like the halo on top of his head. And then I think this is like a group of women, which are, I think that's Mary, the one at the front painting. I think the people like in the bottom there, like that, have like a shield on the bottom. I think they're colouring it in, like drawing it.
They are playing, so they're not coloring in, but yes, they are kind of having a leisurely activity, so they having fun.
And people are looking at them, and I see people coming down the brick road to come and see this.
It's a bit small, so I can. That's a good observation. But there are people going away.
Yeah.
So going away from this, as also you can see the horse on the right hand side too.
People are turning around to go away, and also they're going back to the city.
Mm-hmm. There is a city in the background as well. Okay, so children, if any of you notice the same things, put your thumbs up or tell your parents to put thumbs up, and Melina will be telling me if she sees any thumbs up appearing. And I also want to ask you, Melina, with regards to kind of a bit more detail on a floor. You know, can you see anything else happening?
Well, I see some like a skull on the floor with some rocks, and I see a comment there.
There is a question. So images are attached in the group. They have been posted before. If you cannot find them in the group, the first image you can just Google. It's Andrea Mantegna, and it's called The Crucifixion. But in the group itself, you should see announcement with images we will be studying. Okay, so is there anyone else apart from Jesus?
Yes,
there?
there are two other people. Like they're like tied, I think.
We are tied to the cross. Yes, there is him as well. Oh yes, there is somebody who saw the skull at the bottom of the cross. Correct.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay, and
There's also one.
that's fine. And then also now let's talk about all the faces. What kind of facial expressions you can see if you start from the left-hand side of the image.
Well, everyone looks very sad.
On the left-hand side. Now check on the right-hand side.
Right-hand side, some people are like happier. Because them three are like playing, so they look quite happy as well.
Yes, correct. Okay. So
why were the other two like tied?
So let's now add a bit more to this. Okay, so the scene of crucifixion, we can, Melina, correct, you were correct. There is Jesus Christ right in the middle of it, and there are two more people also crucified at the same time. On the left-hand side, there is somebody called good thief, and on the right-hand side, there is a bad thief. We also see a few groups lower at the image, kind of more in our eyesight. And we can see John the Evangelist on the left-hand side, who looks really upset and looking up at the Christ. You correctly spotted Mary, who is destroyed and fainted because she's so upset by Jesus being dead. And on the right-hand side, there is a group of happy people, as Eleni noticed that as well. So why Mantegna image is so important to art history? So he has created something, please don't make it smaller because it makes it harder for me to talk about the whole image. He created something called atmospheric perspective. So he used linear perspective and atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective, it's when colors in the image start from darker and fade into lighter color to create the depths and that focus for an eye to follow. So Melina, can you see on the sky how it goes from darker into the much lighter image? And the linear...
I think that's because like it up high in the sky, it's more going into space.
That's kind of like would happen as well if around the sun. Usually this is where sky is lighter, but in this particular image, Mantegna actually on purpose painted it like that. So your eye drawn in kind of in the middle, you know, and you are following the picture and you are ending up looking way out in the horizon. And another thing what Mantegna used is linear perspective. And this is where you make things, you start from bigger, and as you go in the middle of the picture, you make them smaller, and again that helps your eye go into perspective, into vanishing point. So you can see the whole image is actually centered somewhere where Jesus's legs are. Another thing, I talked about bad and good thief, and people on the left hand side and people on the right hand side. So on the left hand side, where the good thief is, we also see saints and Mary. And if you look at him, at a good thief, you will see that he is lighted up by the light. So he is in the lightness, he is with good people, he is the one who will be joining the Christ and all the other saintly people. On the right hand side, the other thief, called bad thief, what happened, he actually said to Christ, while they were all crucified, he said, so if you are a real son of the God, why don't you just take yourself off and kind of like walk away from the cross? And the good thief asked Jesus Christ, are you truly Messiah? So are you truly Son of God and our Savior? And Jesus said to him, yes, if you believe with me, and I'm promising you, you are going to go with me to heaven. So the good thief is highlighted. He's with good people, and the bad thief is in the dark with all the people who are playing.
He actually does have a halo. It's just hard to see. Like, it's at the back of his head.
You mean John the Evangelist? Yes, he has a halo too. It's just from different perspective. It's from a side. It's not from like at the back.
Yeah.
It's from a side. Another thing to everybody, well done spotting the playing group. So actually what's happening in that scene is also from the story of Crucifixion. It's a game between soldiers for Jesus's clothes. So the cloak the other soldier is wearing, the red cloak, is actually something that was Jesus's clothes, and the soldiers are having a game. Melina very well spotted for seeing people walking away. They kind of saw what happened. They saw Jesus being crucified. They waited a bit, got bored, and they're coming back to Jerusalem. So the city at the background is Jerusalem. And one more thing about the whole scene. So one thing is always also very important to remember. It's what any artwork was created for. So this particular artwork was not created to be viewed by from a close distance by everybody coming in the church. It's actually was positioned in the high altar. You know, when you come to the church, Melina, and you see at the end of the like a corridor, it's called choir. You see actually that there is a cross, and then there is usually an altarpiece, and this is part of an altarpiece. So you have got Mary and baby Jesus at the top, and this is one just below it at the bottom. So it's not very big, and you can't see it if you're just visiting a church and attending the service. So this image has got a lot of historical detail and a lot of small detail for actually priests who are delivering the service. So hence, it's a much more, I would say, complicated than some of other images you can see when you go around churches, where you maybe just see Mary and John the Evangelist, and maybe
also,
other saints.
I see someone asked a question. Why is Jesus' face painted dark?
So it's to highlight that he is basically at that precise moment he is dead. Also about coloring, it's a great question. Also Jesus, you may see, he's kind of whitest, and that's because Mantegna was also very interested in sculpture. So he studied sculpture a lot, he drew from it, and he puts that color of really, really pale Jesus to highlight his kind of like body being sculptural. But Jesus's face actually isn't as as tortured as faces of thieves. He's quite calm, and he's in sort of a peace there. So before we move into another image, I wanted to draw your attention to two things on this image. One would be the plaque. So the letters, Melina, can you see letters above the image's head? What letters are they?
INRI.
Correct, and you'll see that quite a lot. So you'll see in a lot of images of crucifixions that this will be above his head. It also comes from story of a Bible, and it basically means Jesus, Jesus from Nazareth, King of Jews. As well, there is a small flag on the right hand side above the Roman soldier there, and that letters are SRQ. I can't remember. I can't see one. Sorry, 1 second. Let me multiply. But basically, this is for Roman
Here, let me try.
for Roman society, to show that this place belonged to Roman. And it would be interesting to say that Italian painter is actually kind of showing Romans as bad guys and the ones who are responsible for Jesus's death. However, please remember at that point there was no such thing as United Italy. And it was okay to be a little bit kind of dismissive about Romans, because
Someone
Florentine.
said what the flag is.
Oh yeah, I speak QR. I couldn't make it bigger. Yeah, so it basically means province of Rome, to highlight that Jerusalem was.
Also,
Roman.
good question. Why is Jesus nailed and the others are tied?
That's to make him suffer more, I'm afraid. So because his crime was bigger than other thieves. Other were just, in opinion of emperor, were just kind of like, one killed somebody, another stole something. So they were much better criminals than Jesus, who was claiming to be the Son of God and King of Jews. He was political criminal, and in that time that would be the worst crime you could commit, according to the law. So I want to give people task, and Melina, you can check the answer. Hi, Eleanor. So the task for children would be: can you please count how many saintly people you can see? And don't yet give away how do we know the saintly people.
Should I also count?
Yes, and let's compare. So there are some people who are just people, who are either historical figures or characters in this scene. And there are some people who identified by Mantegna as saintly. So if you could just answer, that would be great. Parents, you can type in. Okay, let's just see what answers we get. Also, one thing while we're waiting for answers to be typed up, Mary is on the left-hand side, and quite often you will see that in the crucifixion scene, that Mary will be on a kind of like for us on the left, from Jesus on the right. And that is to do with the fact that historically queens, either mother queens or wives of kings, they were sitting on the right-hand side from their husbands. So Mary, as Queen of Heaven, she is quite often placed in religious imagery on the left-hand side as well. So if you walk into any museum and you see the scene of crucifixion, obvious thing, of course, you see the man on the cross, that's Jesus Christ.
People are saying 6 and 5.
5 and 6. Well done, those saying 6. I suspect the one who said 5 forgot to count Jesus. He is also. And Melina, how do you think? How did you know there are 6 people?
It's because the ones with the halos. The halo is basically the one with the yellow over the head. I bet she didn't forget to count Jesus, but the one on the the left hand side, just watching.
John the Evangelist.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So before we move into another image, does anybody has any questions? And I'll wait a few seconds for that to come up, and then if no, we'll move into another image.
I'll get the next image ready. Actually, I'll just.
Do you have any questions?
Not really.
Okay. That's fine. All right. So we are now on a second image by Titian, and it's called Christ Carrying the Cross. So if you could please go to that, and we'll spend a minute, because it has less detail, but there are some details there. And I would like Melina to hear quite detailed description of face, maybe hand.
Wait, what is the name of the hill?
Name of the hill is Golgotha, and it basically means skull from ancient Greek. We're not quite sure why was it named. One of the theories, actually, on that image, we talked about skull briefly. One of the theories is because Adam, the very first male, was buried there. And you know, the ones who spotted in Mantegna's image skull at the bottom, it's actually believed that when Jesus died, the earth has cracked, and it's too small of an image to show you, but you can have a look at it later. In Jerusalem, you can see inside the city there is a crack going there. So the whole kind of area has cracked, and the skull has appeared, and it was an Adam's skull. So it was called Golgotha.
So
Skulls in the cave, it's because kind of like shows the death. The death is always near. And you can now analyze.
So what I see is, you don't need to stop typing. It's just, I see him carrying, it looks like he's crying.
Who is he?
Jesus is crying.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks quite tired. He looks like he's bleeding a lot.
And what else is happening?
Someone else has to help him a lot.
Yeah, so there is another gentleman there. And as you say, helping, so he's also carrying a cross, right?
But why does Jesus need to carry the cross?
Well, that's what the story of the Bible says. So I will start describing actual scene, not the image itself. So when Jesus was condemned to the crucifixion on the cross, and he had to go to Golgotha, he actually was also told to carry his own cross there. But because he was already tortured beforehand, so they were kind of pretending to hang him, they were beating him up, they put a thorn crown on his head, because they were saying, okay, you know, if you are king, you need a crown, here is your crown. And they put a crown made out of thorn, very painful.
Why didn't he take it off then?
Because Jesus Christ, according to Bible, believes that this was his destiny. This was God's will.
Why are we...
He's wearing the crown of thorns, correct. So, and then he was so already tired and so beaten up that he could not physically carry the cross much further. And then Roman soldiers picked somebody from the crowd and said, you come and help him to carry the cross. And this is what we're seeing at the moment. And the man who's helping him to carry the cross is called Simon of Cyrene. So
he is wearing thorns.
He's wearing thorns, yeah, he's wearing a crown.
But why did the people give him a thorn crown?
Because soldiers were torturing him. So it's kind of like mocking him and making him really bad. So what I would like to ask, and please children, answer to your parents, and parents, if you can type, that's great. Melina, you can also answer, but with delay. So I'll ask a question, you think about it for 10 seconds to give us the children time to think, and then you answer it. Okay, so where is the main focus of the light in this image by Titian?
I'm thinking like...
I'll give you 10 seconds. So children, please have a look at the image and try to determine where is the main focus of the light.
Wait, when he was on the cross and he was killed, was he still wearing the thorn crown?
Yes. And quite often you will see that in imagery of Christ being crucified. Because it's one of the symbolism, you know, of his passion. Passion meaning his suffering. Okay, so
So I think it's coming like from up there, shining down.
On?
Like in the corner somewhere, like it's sunset, because I see only a little bit.
But where is it? Is it on the cross? Jesus' face and arm, correct. The shoulder. So shoulder and his face and arms. That's a correct answer, and that's kind of to show that he is the light. He's the one who is through this suffering, still bringing light to our lives. So he's our main focus. Okay, and then. Children, please have a look and tell me what or who Christ is looking at.
Sure.
Give 10 seconds. So, Melina, what do you think Christ is looking at?
Christ is more looking like at us.
Yes, he's looking at us, right? So it's very direct.
What does the ring mean?
I'll get to the ring in a minute. Good question. I'll get to the ring in a minute. So he's looking at us, and he's inviting us to kind of join his faith that this has to happen. And can you see him crying?
Yeah, I've said that.
But does he look in pain, or does he look more sad?
Sad.
Yeah, so he's, even though through his suffering, you don't see kind of like Jesus going inwards and looking at his own feelings. He's more showing to us the sadness, even I would say for us. Okay, and also another question. Is Jesus far away, like he was in another image, or he's closer to us?
Closer.
And so if we put together those two things, that he's looking at us and we are very close, do you want to have a go at trying to work out what his artist was trying to create?
Trying to create that he's looking at us really close, trying to tell us to come and help him carry the cross, maybe.
And also kind of almost putting us in the same place, in the same picture, so we are with Jesus there when he's carrying a cross. So we suddenly are in the same scene.
In pain and...
Jake said in pain and sad. Yeah.
And also, you haven't said about what does the ring mean.
I haven't said what ring means. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, to go about, and there is another gentleman there. So apart from Jesus Christ, there is also Simon. So the gentleman who helps him to carry a cross. And what he was believed to be, historically, just a standby person. So he just happened to be there, was grabbed by the soldiers and asked to go and carry the cross. But we also can see his facial expression is actually kind of compassion. He is then now feeling and understanding Christ's, suffering and pain. What that ring means, it helps. One more thing is to identify who that person is. So it's supposed to be Simon from the Bible, but actually the face is modeled on a patron, somebody who paid for this work, somebody who has ordered. Casey's mom. Casey misses you. So and this is a image of a patron, so somebody who paid for the whole painting to be created. So if, for example, if you and me paid for it, that would be your and my face there, not Simon's face. And the ring is another thing which helps to identify the patron, because rings were quite important in Venice at the time. So that would be one of another things. And the man in real life is actually an interesting fact. He was also an artist. He's very famous mosaic artist in Venice, and he actually commissioned an artwork. So, Melina, with regards to kind of, if we quickly compare and contrast, and in this place we will contrast. So if you know what contrast means, So how the first image is different to the second image?
Well, it's because Jesus is carrying the cross, and one he's already sacrificed, like dead.
Yeah, so one is in actual moment, so it's very different mood. We are in the moment invited, but also with regards to that's much closer, we are there, right? He's looking at us, so it's much more personal and much more intimate experience. While another is more like a story and helping us to understand the story. Oh, it is very sad. I agree. And Maya says hi as well. All right. So before we finish up, do you have any questions for next minute or two for us to answer? And Melina, you will be the one trying to answer them. If you can't, it's fine. You just say, "Mommy, your turn."
And I've also got a task for you.
Oh yeah, you will do. Despina says Titian's painting is emotionally charged. That's an amazing observation, Despina. It is very, very moving picture, I would say. I definitely feel much closer to Jesus Christ on that image than in the first one. Do you want to give task while we wait for questions?
Yeah, so the task...
For those who want.
Yeah. To those who want to, maybe you could draw if you were watching Jesus Christ being nailed or carrying the cross. How would you feel? You could draw a picture and your expression, or you could draw the painting where Jesus is already dead, or is he carrying the cross? And then you can post it on the page. Why is Simon wearing a ring?
Yes, so because Simon, answering Simon's question, because the ring is actually from the patron, from the person who paid for the image to be made. So as well as his face, Titian included his ring, so for recognition. So if, for example, if your daddy, James, would commission that, we would put James's face, and we would put his favorite watch or his mobile phone to recognize him. But what Melina was saying about the task, for those who want to do a little bit more at home, Melina has come up with the task. So imagine that you're actually one of those people after crucifixion watching there. So what you can just sketch a little face and a little scene. So Jesus being there, and your emotion during the scenes there. So as if you are stepping into history and you are becoming one of these people.
And also you can imagine you are Jesus, so you can paint a picture of you being Jesus.
That's very brave. I don't think we can do that. but each to their own. I kind of don't want to imagine myself in that position. That would be a very, very scary and at the same time brave thing to do. So maybe don't draw that.
You don't have to.
I think we're going to wrap up. Huge thanks, slightly over time. Huge thanks for joining us. Next week we are going to do still life. Same time, same place, and we'll be learning about still life. Why it's so popular? What is actually it's about? Why people would paint the pictures of food and flowers.
Could you remind me of
the dates of painting? Of course. So Titian Christ carrying the cross is 1565. You also see that information on actual Playing Art Historians page. It will be an image, and in the comments you'll see that. And Andrea and Mantegna, the Crucifixion is 1457 to 1459. All right, we're gonna say thank you and don't read it. We're gonna say thank you and bye-bye. It just says you're a very clever girl. I agree. Melina did really well. And I'm sure all the children, you done really well just staying here. Unless your mommies and daddies watching alone now. But maybe you'll watch it some other day. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye.
You are very welcome, everybody. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for watching us too.